Blame it on my loyalty. That's what it all is right there, and that comes from me being me. The only people you could say I looked up to was Baby and Slim, and I guess I saw how they stay loyal to each other.
Wayne is my favorite person to work with, though, because it's just, ooh, little Wayne, he's just too good.
You gotta give Wayne the love.
He's just too good.
This is my, I'm shooting my footage.
Oh, this is you? Oh, yeah. Oh. I was about to tell him, I was about to be like, yo, son, but it's you. So.
Yeah.
Oh my God, neighbors, y'all gotta get in here and check this out. Lil Wayne just had a show out in Vegas, and during his set, his DJ mixed in Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Now, while he made some lyrical changes to the song, rapping They Don't Like Us, They Don't Like Us, this still made a lot of headlines.
So it's really starting to feel like everyone who was once close with Drake is now turning their backs on him. But who would have thought we'd see the day when even his Young Money family, the very people who helped launch him into superstardom, would publicly shade him? Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and Drake used to be the ultimate trio during the Young Money glory days, cranking out hit after hit. And their chemistry wasn't just in the studio. Wayne and Drake were like brothers, while Drake and Nicki shared such a close bond that had the internet speculating for years that there might have been something more than just friendship between them. But times have definitely changed. Now it looks like Wayne and Nicki are adding their names to the ever-growing list of people who've had it with Drake. Now Drake's diehard fans are out here. Saying this just proves that all these folks were fake friends from the jump. And it's Drake who's the real victim here. Others, however, are quick to point out that Drake has been involved in some shady behavior himself. Remember when he allegedly hooked up with Lil Wayne's girlfriend while Wayne was locked up? And then there were those times he cozied up to people who brought nothing but drama into Nicki's life. Yet, even after all that mess, Wayne and Nicki stayed loyal to him. But in true Drake fashion, he couldn't resist stirring the pot. He kept sneak dissing and pulling shady stunts online. And the latest drama, Drake went and dropped a whopping 100 gab of content. But what really had people talking was his random decision to collab with Nicki's longtime rival. Well, now fans are starting to connect the dots, and they're saying if Drake is beefing with the whole industry and losing friends left and right, maybe just maybe he's the common denominator in all this drama. But what exactly did Wayne and Nicki say when they decided to distance themselves from Drake? Are they really putting the blame on him for the downfall of Young Money? Let's dive in and find out. I do know how to lead. I do know how to bring people together. And I also do know how to better them. Now, how old were you when we started to scribe? Probably when I was about 17. Rise and fall of Young Money back in the early 2010s. Lil Wayne's Young Money label was on the verge of taking over the music industry. They had a stacked roster of talent with both established stars and fresh faces ready to blow up. But as we know, things didn't quite go as planned. And now Young Money is practically defund. Most of the big names have either started their own labels or jumped ship to sign better deals where they don't have to share the profits with Young Money and Cash Money. What made Young Money so special was its focus on young, hungry artists. As an offshoot of the bigger Cash Money label, Young Money was Lil Wayne's brainchild during his peak, and he attracted a ton of talent just by being the superstar he was for those between 25 and 35. Especially down south, Lil Wayne was basically their generation's Jay-Z. With that kind of clout, he assembled a trio of young artists who, if they stayed together, could have gone down as the greatest label crew of all time aside from Wayne himself. The trio I'm talking about is, of course, Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Igga. Drake had superstar written all over him from day one. You could tell early on that he was destined for greatness. He had this unique mix of rapping and singing that brought in a huge female fan base and the backpack crowd that was big. Back then, his presence alone skyrocketed Young Money stock. Now Nicki Minaj, she needs no introduction. She was the only female rapper dominating the mainstream for almost a decade straight, and could outrun 95% of the men in the game. As for Tyga, was a massive star at one point, but somehow Young Money dropped the ball with him. See, there was a moment when Tyga was on track to be mentioned alongside rap heavyweights. His 2012 and 2013 albums, Careless World, Rise of the Last King, and Hotel California show just how much potential he had. But Tyga wasn't the only one. Young Money drove the ball with Let's Talk About Jay Mills. He was a rapper's rapper straight out of New York, known for his rap battles and lyrical skills. But the problem was he couldn't make songs that people wanted to replay. And in an industry full of talented rappers, just being good wasn't enough. And at any time you could say that any of the other artists on Young Money could have been big or could have blown up you can really say that about any artist today, but in reality, everyone isn't a star or have that star quality about themselves. Now, the last issue with the Young Money label, and something that possibly also led to its downfall, was the amount of artists that they had on the label. They had people there, and I'm sure that they tried to get all of them out. But in doing that, they got none of them out. The label was so focused on getting Lil Wayne, Drake, Nicki, and Igga out that they didn't have time to get artists like Jay Mills, Corey Guns, Christina, Million Euro, Flo Gutta Gutta, Lil Twist, Lil Chucky, Glasses Malone, or even Omarion's album out, and that isn't even the whole roster. Lil Wayne and the other people running Young Money probably saw something in all of these artists, but having all of them under record deals and not doing anything with them is probably one of the main reasons that Young Money went down. Now, when it comes to the reason Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki's powerhouse trio crumbled, well, it looks like there's something way more personal that went down. It seems Wayne and Nicki came to the harsh realization that Drake was never as loyal to them as they were to him. How Drake broke bro code. Drake and Lil Wayne have some serious history, and back in the early 2010s, Drake, Wayne, and Nicki Minaj were the ultimate hip-hop holy trinity, dropping hit after hit under the Cash Money, Young Money label. During that time, Drake and Weezy were as close as it gets, with Drake constantly showering Wayne with praise, calling him the greatest of all time. But things took a sharp turn in March 2010, when Wayne was sentenced to a year in prison after pleading guilty to gun possession. So Wayne ended up serving 8 months of his year-long sentence at Rikers. And during that time, the tea is that Drake allegedly hooked up with Weezy's then girlfriend Tammy Torres. Now back in 2015, TMZ dropped a bombshell report, which they later deleted, saying that Wayne was so furious about Drake smashing his girl that he was ready to physically attack him. According to TMZ, Wayne spilled all this tea in book proposal he sent out to publishers. In that proposal, Wayne supposedly claimed that while he was locked up at Riker, Drake came to visit him and straight up told him to stop messing with Tammy because he had already slept with her. Wayne wrote, "This is the type of is that a man never wants to find out when he's locked up? Or maybe so, 'cause only God knows what I would have done if I wasn't locked up right now. Finding out that she messed with Drake was the absolute worst thing I could have ever found out." Now, when Wayne later addressed this incident in an interview with Hip Hollywood, however, this time he claimed he didn't hold any grudge against Drake.
Apparently, in the book, there's that part in the book where you say that he came in and told you that he had smashed one of your girls.
Yes. I wasn't worried about that. I mean, I would just, that's just how life goes when you locked up.
But fast forward to now, and Kendrick Lamar decided to stir the pot by reminding Weezy of how Drake did him dirty on Not Like Us. Kendrick called out Drake for sleeping with Wayne's girl, and he also brought up how Drake got a tattoo of Wayne's face on his left tricep back in 2017, about 2 years after Wayne spilled the tea on the betrayal in his book Proposal. Kendrick seems to be hinting that while Drake's tattoo might look like a tribute, it doesn't quite hit the mark given the role Drake allegedly played in hurting his mentor. And you already know fans had plenty to say about it. Someone commented, "Drake backstabs everyone he touches." You don't think that includes Wayne too? He was probably one of the first people he burned bridges with. And another fan said Wayne ain't really been effing with Drake, warned him not to get in the lane of trying to talk gaga and stay in his hip-hop pop lane way. A real one. He gave Drake the keys, but he not going to save a 37-year-old man. He know Kenny is going to bury him and probably just smoke one and say to himself, "I told you so." Now, before we dive into what Lil Wayne said about these speculations he cut ties with Drake, let's switch things up and chat about Queen Nicki Minaj. It looks like she's really feeling the sting of Drake's betrayal. You can see it all over her social media. In interviews, she seems genuinely hurt by how things turned out, how Drake betrayed Nicki. Nicki and Drake hit it off as collaborators from the very start, repping the Young Money crew with serious flair. Their on-screen chemistry was through the roof, so it didn't take long for fans to start buzzing that there might be more going on between them than just friendship.